There you go. Are Susan and Jim coming?
They are not.
Okay,
Susan's on vacation and Jim had a scheduling conflict.
okay.
We'll send her a quick message.
Yeah, she's usually good at texting, but she hasn't sent a thing yet. Mm.
Give her a minute to respond at least.
No coffee at these meetings?
I thought she had donuts. She brought that box out. I was like,
Better be Milton's.
and you know, it's that thing that's an
No donuts.
where it's like, well, if someone brings donuts, you have to eat one, right? I was like, oh no. It looks like the Milton's box. But in the morning, it looks like a donut box, okay?
I am so gonna decorate that box.
Just every time tease
I
me.
mean, you know, this is a
Amy, is it
high-quality
donuts?
paper box, lid box.
I know.
I've had that for years. I finally retired Betsy's. She had one, and it was even more beat up than that. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna splurge and go down and get a.
You have I have my favorite boxes. I mean, it's sad to say, but that's when you know you're old, when you start having your
Maybe
favorite
we'll get
box.
you a new box, Amy.
Huh?
For Christmas, we'll get you a new box.
I feel like she might
Once
be
every
attached
5
to
years, you can get
I
a box.
know, right?
I try to.
We're cheap here, but we're not that cheap. We can get a box.
All right, I'm gonna say let's go because I haven't heard back from her. Okay. Like to call to order the Middletown City Council special meeting for Friday, May 7th, 2021. Ms. Kim, can you please call the roll?
Ms. Fattori,
Here.
Ms. Nenny, Mr. Moon,
Here.
Mr. Mulligan,
Here.
Mayor Condrey.
Here.
I'd make a motion, we excuse Miss Ninny. I imagine she'll be arriving any minute, though.
I'll second that.
Mr. Moon,
Yes.
Mr. Mulligan,
Yes.
Mayor Condrey,
Yes.
Ms. Fattori.
Yes.
Okay, and next we need to receive and file the special meeting documents. Do we just motion and,
Yeah.
okay, do we have a motion to receive and file the special meeting documents?
So move for adoption.
Second?
And Ms. Gink, can you call the roll when you're ready?
Mr. Moon,
Yes.
Mr. Mulligan.
Yes.
Mayor Condrey,
Yes.
Ms. Fattori.
Yes.
I assume those are somewhere to be signed.
Yes, they are.
Okay, sounds good.
And do we have to say that we're doing this as an emergency, or how does that work?
Yeah, just like with any meeting, obviously you have before you a proposed resolution that staff drafted, I think frankly at one or more council members' request. So we went ahead and drafted that, but it would be just like you do with any other legislation on an agenda where should you want to pass something in as emergency on the first reading, council will just need to, move to pass or an amendment to the charter provisions for today to allow you to do so.
Okay.
All right. Well, in that case, I move to waive the charter provision requiring readings on 2 separate days and the resolution R 2021-27 be declared an emergency and read one time only.
Second?
Ms. Gink, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Mulligan,
Yes.
Mayor Condrey,
Yes.
Ms. Fattori,
Yes.
Mr. Moon.
Yes.
Got that memorized, Councilman Mulligan.
I know.
Strong.
I don't know what we would do if you weren't here.
Especially without coffee. That's impressive. Or donuts.
And no donuts.
I don't think Monica will be joining us. So
Oh, okay.
maybe in 15 minutes, but probably not.
If we talk that long.
So I'm happy to cover as much or as little as you want it, but obviously I can start by just reading off what it is that you're being proposed to by its heading. So what you've got before you is resolution number R 2021-27. It's a resolution imposing a 6-month moratorium on both the acceptance of development-related applications and the issuance of any permit or other approval regarding the establishment of skilled nursing or personal care facilities, medical clinics, pharmacies, urgent care facilities, and similar uses within the UCC Urban Core Central and UCS Urban Core Support Zoning Districts of the City of Middletown, Ohio, and declaring an emergency. Happy to field any questions along, I'm sure, as may Ashley. Did you have them?
So why the urgent care facilities and pharmacies part? I mean, there's obviously a goal of keeping certain types of facilities out. In general, an urgent care facility doesn't seem like something we would care to keep out, but
Sure,
maybe
so.
that's because it's helping to wrap that in. I don't.
Yeah, it's difficult when you have concerns over certain types of medical-related uses because it can involve the Americans with Disabilities Act.
Gotcha.
What that
I figured there might
requires,
be something like that.
exactly, what that requires is that, in essence, all types of medical uses that may involve a disability be treated similar to whatever their other use is. So for instance, if it's let's say a senior care facility that may involve disabled persons, you're to pay no regard, frankly, to the disability that may be involved with that and treat them like any other similarly situated entity, such that, institutional care facilities, different things like that nature, they all go together. That way you're legitimately not discriminating against one from the other. But it's hard to splice out, especially when you're dealing with medical-based moratoriums, which are the ones that you can do and which are the ones you aren't doing. And again, I think the whole purpose here is not to prohibit, per se, any of those in the long term. It's just to kind of put in a stopgap measure such that staff can study it, see what's the right balance in the community of what it would like where. Is it appropriate in these types of districts or not? And then once that's done, act.
Right. And I think create a process too. I mean, again, we're not necessarily saying no more, but I think we didn't have a very clear process on if these kind of users are coming into the space, the chief of police needs to be involved. Like, there needs to be a lot of the services from the city level involved to make sure that we all are on the same page. And so I think that's part of just taking this time to make sure we do things correctly.
Yeah, especially when dealing with medical-related uses, what you're basically saying is there can at times be secondary effects that need to be mitigated or looked at. So what type of setbacks, density requirements, whatever might we want, if it's in the urban core, or maybe if it's not in the urban core, what do you want to do to appropriately, regulate, mitigate, make it cohesive together? So that's the type of stuff that I'd anticipate staff will be looking at over the next 6 months or less.
So we'd be looking at tweaking the zoning code, I'm guessing. Okay.
That's ultimately up to you all to decide, but yeah, that's
what
the idea.
That's what we'd be studying.
Exactly.
Staff should be making recommendations to us in the coming month or so to say like, hey, we've looked at the whole picture and we think, yes, we shouldn't have any more, or we could have this, and then we'll move forward from there.
Ms. Combs, would it be your opinion 6 months is enough to do the studying and then lay out the groundwork for potential changes?
Yeah, I mean, a text amendment, if it runs its typical course, is about 4 to 6 months, going through planning commission and then coming through you with our final recommendation.
Okay.
How long do you think you need to make the recommendation?
I mean, we've already been looking into it.
Okay.
Since we've been receiving emails from the community as well as, city council, so I think we'd be ready to start moving probably the July planning commission, just due to there's a 30-day notice requirement. And
Okay.
we already missed that for the June,
Right.
June 9th, so we'd be hitting it pretty close, because when you send a legal notice to, the journal,
Right.
doesn't mean they post it today.
That day.
So just to make sure we're within our 30-day notice, it'll most likely be the July meeting.
Okay. And to your point, thank you for saying this, a lot of this is coming from the community. We've all received a lot of emails. There's a lot of business owners who have reached out and asked us to really take a pause and look at what's best for the community. So that's what we're doing here today.
And Ms. Combs, one additional question. Is the scope of your work also include any zoning changes for drop-in centers or day centers?
That would be absolutely something we look at as a part of this.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, and to Ms. Vittori's point, this is, definitely come up with comments from business owners, property owners, and how do we help and encourage an arts and entertainment district in our downtown while balancing the needs of the community. But certainly as we move towards our, that goal of arts and entertainment and downtown residential, we just need to be careful about who's populating the commercial spaces. So happy to give to staff this time to reset and then give us some time to have some long-term rules and regulations.
I would also like if staff could consider, I don't know what kind of mitigation tactics there might be, but for example, there are some current service providers in town that, let's say, give out food boxes and the people come and but they pick through them and then they leave trash everywhere. So can we also consider some type of good neighbor clauses, whatever it might be, but just encouraging people somehow through, I don't know if that's a code thing as much as a penalty, or I don't know how it could work. I'd rather it be like a positive thing than a negative, but I know that part of the issue is that we do have a lot of services that create some of the issues that we're trying to clean up, and so having them be responsible, I guess, for their perimeter or however it might work.
It might not actually be a, a zoning code matter, but we'll work with outside legal and make sure where that, something like that would best fit in the codified ordinance.
Okay,
It doesn't live in our code where
gotcha.
it would best fit, we can definitely do that.
So, but obviously you'll all be working together, so recommending across the board all the strategies to make this effective. Okay.
Does staff have any opinion on this at all that you'd like to share with us at this time?
No, I think that, moratoriums are just that. It's a pause to breathe, to see what your opinions are and to study it. So I think it's a little premature to really, say what those may be, because truly we don't know. I've been involved in other communities with different types of moratoriums where at the end of it, they just went, you know what, we're good. And they've dropped it and done nothing because once they studied it, they realized, this isn't so bad. It's always novel or different uses or new trends in where the development is going, and you just kind of pause and go, oh, okay, we're good.
So UCC and UCS, I just can never remember where that exactly is. I missed that.
I didn't see the map in the legislation, but I can, if you have one, I'll make a copy real quick.
Mine's not colored, I just kind of brought it with me to see.
All right, I can run upstairs and grab.
Why don't we just
Maybe
pass
just
it?
pass
There's
that around.
There's only 4 of us.
I'm familiar with the UCC and UCS.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure I'm visualizing what is in my head.
Basically from the river to the railroad tracks.
And then the
Along Central.
one block either side, kind of.
Sorry, I didn't see that.
So is there a gap where South Main connects to Central? It looks like there's a little gap around the corner there.
UCS goes quite far.
Okay. Okay. And do we need to include that?
I mean, it's residential, so.
Okay, so it wouldn't meet zoning anyway. Okay. So if it's residential, commercial use couldn't go in anyway.
All right.
Thank you.
I just want to finish reading this entirely before we vote, because I still haven't read it.
If you could, that'd be great.
Ben, there's nothing that would prevent, if 6 months was more than enough time, we could come back sooner.
Absolutely. I mean, again, being brutally honest, working with other communities, the typical moratorium that I've used and recommended has been a year, just because that provides you adequate time to do everything that you might want, and even sometimes you extend it past then. Again, being blunt, I think 6 months is, if anything, very aggressive in terms of wanting to make sure you're doing the minimum to protect all of your property owners' rights, frankly. So, yeah, could it be done sooner than 6 months? Yeah, and the city will work on a breakneck speed to do that. Ms. Combs and I and city manager have already talked about mapping out, just as Ashley had suggested, okay, when's the first planning commission we can get to? When's the first of all of that? So, but technically, yes, if you want to come back tomorrow, you guys have slept on it and think, you know what, I don't think we need this anymore, call another meeting and rescind it. It's that fast.
So if somebody already has a approved use, but they want to apply for something else within that, then that could still be a moratorium on that new request, right?
Correct. So the law basically protects the existing rights of those that are vested, meaning they've either established the type of use that you're now trying to put a moratorium on, or they've even gone so far as to file a permit application that's capable of being approved. So it's almost like a snapshot in time. All those that were approved before are fine. They can keep doing that. But staff is prohibited from, accepting and issuing permits for anything that hasn't yet been established.
Okay, any other comments or questions? All right, then I believe we need to call the roll for it, right? Do we motion? and
Do we have a
second?
motion and second yet? Okay.
think so.
I
What
move,
we have done is just waive the second reading.
Right,
oh, that's right, okay. I move to adopt Resolution R 2021-27.
Second?
Ms. Skank, will you please call the roll?
Mayor Condrey,
Yes.
Ms. Vettori,
Yes.
Mr. Moon,
Yes.
Mr. Mulligan.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, with that, we will adjourn until May 18th. Yeah, May 18th at 5:30 here in council chambers. Until then, blue skies over Middletown. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.